Good afternoon. I want to start off by thanking Coach Frank Haith. He's done a tremendous job as the leader of our basketball program since he got here. He's leaving a program in excellent condition, and we're excited about our future. I wish him, Pam, and his two children the best of luck at Missouri. But our priority right now is on finding the best coach possible for the University of Miami. And due to that, we've already started a national search, and our goal is to find the best coach possible. We're going to open up for questions.
Were you surprised, Tony? Can you talk, how you found out about it, when, and that kind of thing?
Typical in this industry where an athletic director calls the other athletic director. I got a call yesterday from Mike Alden that they were considering Frank, and we're going to talk to Frank. So I appreciate Mike for that phone call. And up to that point, yes, I was surprised, George. Then, after that, it played itself out pretty quick. But up to that point, yes, I was surprised.
Did you not know until you got a call from Mike there had been discussions?
That's when they started their conversation, when Mike called me. And their search, I don't know, it went in many different directions, my understanding, and they ended up making an offer to Frank Haith.
Was Tony, did you guys try to keep Frank in any way? Was there any of that kind of last-minute attempts to keep him at Miami?
We had multiple conversations with Frank yesterday evening, and even this morning I spoke to him before he flew back here from Houston. Frank was excited about the opportunity Missouri posed for him and decided to go there.
What did he tell you about why he wanted to go to Missouri?
I don't know. You would have to ask Frank that question.
In recent discussions that you've had with Frank before all this started, did he seem happy, or what was his kind of attitude about what was going on here?
One thing that Frank was certain about was he loved the outlook of this program for next year. Frank was really excited about what our team was going to look like. The fact that we're graduating one senior and Adrian, other than that, the rest of the team comes back. Frank's conversations were always very positive. He was excited about next season. So from that aspect, yes, he was. I have a great working relationship with Frank and a friendly relationship, and he was very positive throughout everything, which is why I was surprised.
Do you have a committee involved in the search, coaching search, or all come to you, or what?
Well, I'm coordinating a search on behalf of the university. Ultimately, it's my job to present qualified candidates to the president and other key individuals, and we'll make a decision from there. But I'm coordinating the search on behalf of the university. We've engaged Parker Executive Search out of Atlanta. They're one of the premier, if not the premier, collegiate search consulting firm, especially when it comes to men's basketball coaches. So we've engaged them already this afternoon, and we've already started the process.
Tony, do you expect
Parker Executive Search.
Do you expect to make this hire with your stand-in, or does it speed up the process of finding another athletic director? How is this going to work?
The university plans to make a hire as quick as possible, as long as we find the right coach, independent of where the athletic director search is at. And that search process would be more a question for the president than for me.
Tony, when Kirby Hocutt was up in front of us after Randy Shannon was dismissed, he talked about the new football coach search and said, money not an issue, we're looking for the best candidate. Is money going to be a factor in this search?
No, our goal is to find the best head coach possible, and we have to weigh that upon what's available and what we're willing to pay. But there's a strong commitment from the University of Miami to our men's basketball program, which is evident by the building of the basketball practice facility. That's a major facility that was built since Frank got hired here. So there's a lot of great things going on with men's basketball, and we plan to find the right person.
Are there any parameters as far as who you're looking for? Are you looking for someone that definitely has head coaching experience?
No, it's early on in the search, so it would be rather naive of us to close out the search to anybody and say exactly what we want. I don't know exactly what we're looking for other than a great coach and a great fit for the University of Miami. But, ideally we're going to hire somebody that has a good, very proven, successful track record as a college basketball coach.
Have you talked to any players?
Yes, good question. I just met with the team. I came straight from a team meeting. I addressed with the team. They were disappointed. It's not an easy time whenever you lose a coach that brought you here. But I shared with them our commitment to find the best coach possible for the University of Miami.
Has Frank talked to the players yet? Do you know? And
Frank met with the team right before I did.
And when did you meet with them?
On the way, right when I came here, so probably I walked into a team meeting maybe 3:50 around the time. and Frank had just met with the team.
Tony, there was no question about the Miami football program being a good job and whatnot. Can you talk about the strengths or the things that you believe why the basketball job is a good job for other coaches?
Well, for one is there's talent on that team. I think you saw some of that excitement in some of our games this year. There's some talent, so you're not coming in and having to recruit a whole team. There's some really exciting players already on the team. Our facilities, we have the practice facility. We have the Bank United Center, which I really think with the right program we could make that a premier sporting facility for college basketball. Other than that, you're recruiting in South Florida. What a great place to live. There's a good recruiting pool in the state of Florida in high school basketball and AAU basketball. So there's a lot of positives. We're in the ACC. We're in a great conference. You get to play against great teams. You're on TV quite a bit. So there's a lot of positives with this basketball program. And there's a strong commitment from the university. We wouldn't have invested the money in this basketball practice facility if it wasn't something we were serious about. We would not have gone and hired Parker Executive Search today if we weren't serious about our commitment to men's basketball.
Tony, one of the challenges of the basketball program at Miami has been drumming up support from community, from students. With all the football tradition, basketball often takes a back seat. Will you keep that in mind as far as looking for big names that could create a splash within the South Florida area?
Sure, if it's the right fit, absolutely. We'll look at that. And we're not trying to make a splash. We're trying to hire the best coach possible. But if the best coach possible happens to make a splash with the community, wonderful. But our commitment is not necessarily just to make a splash. We want a long-term coach who's going to be here for a long time, who's going to be successful and win a lot of games here for us.
Paul used to always kind of joke that he always used to have 5 names kind of in his back pocket just in case someone decided to leave. You've obviously just taken over. So have you had even a chance to kind of survey the landscape of college basketball and kind of just in case in the back of your mind just kind of think about that, you know, what happens if?
You're always thinking that way. I think any good supervisor thinks that way to replace any of their staff members. So you're always thinking that way. I had 8 people on my list, and by noon today I'd grown to 20. So, you know, and that's what you want. You want a long list that you're going to look through and narrow it down. You want a quality pool of candidates. Doesn't mean you're going to end up with somebody in your initial list, but it's a good start.
Early, but has anybody contacted you already?
Nobody directly, but there's been a lot of other contacts, and now with the search firm, everything will go through the search firm.
Have you, through this, or independently or through the search firm, done a little bit of just research to see if people are interested in this job?
That's part of the process that will really start tomorrow morning with the search firm.
Would you expect a hire to be made in the next month, or is it going to be longer than that, would you guess?
I don't want to give a definite timeline. My goal would be for it not to last a month, but we're not going to give a definite timeline on that. Our goal and our priority is to find the best coach possible, and however long that takes.
Have you ever been involved in anything like this? Obviously,
Sure.
You've been an associate, but even on the other sports here, have you been involved in any coaching searches, anything like this before?
You're right. I mean, yes, I have been, George. I was involved in to some degree in the last 2 football coaches when we hired Chuck Nines as a consultant. Was involved and headed up a search. I recently hired our head soccer coach, Tom Andignos from Central Michigan, who's the head coach there, very successful there. So I've been involved in coaching searches before. And multiple other, I mean, I go back to when we first hired Nicole Lantain-Walsh as our first and only volleyball coach. I've been involved in a lot of searches to different degrees. But this one, this will be my first search that, other than the last soccer search, I'm coordinating.
Tony, I guess Frank had a couple of years left on his contract. Did you guys just release him, or did Missouri have to compensate any kind of buyout?
That's all contractual laid out in the contract, so we don't discuss specific matters of any contract.
Doesn't that have to be confirmed tonight, or no? That's by their board of curators?
Oh, I don't want to speak specifically about where they're at in Missouri in the process, because Susan, I'm not very familiar exactly where they're at.
But Frank obviously officially resigned. He's gone.
He's notified the team, and I met with the team right afterwards.
But there's a quote, I believe, that says, maybe from President Shalala, something about congratulating him and something about Missouri in there. So I didn't know if that process actually ended yet as far as him being hired.
I do not know where the process is at through Missouri. I do know that Frank Haith has told us he's going to Missouri.
What about the rest of the staff, Tony? What's their situation?
As I left the Bank United Center, Coach Haith was meeting with his staff. I don't know the outcome of that. I don't know, again, the situation with Missouri and where they're at, the staffing levels and things like that. So I imagine Coach Haith will be working through that here shortly.
Will you have to name an interim coach?
Not necessarily. I mean, we're fortunate where we're at in the basketball scenario right now is that they're not really practicing. They're doing workouts and they're obviously following up with their academics and things like that, but there's not anything specifically basketball related where you need to name an interim coach, where this happens in the middle of the season or something like that, where you have that pressure on you. We don't have that right now.
But you think you can go even like maybe 3 weeks, whatever it takes, without any kind of interim coach or somebody, you know?
I will feel comfortable if we did not name an interim coach at this point. Now, obviously, we have a lot of support staff that'll be working very closely with basketball, whether it be academic advisors, athletic trainers, strength coaches that'll be working directly with them. But at this time, it's not necessary to name a strength interim coach. If that opportunity is there, we might do that, but it's not absolutely necessary for the program.
Tony, do you anticipate any sort of challenge when you're hiring a head basketball coach as the acting athletics director, and you know this situation is still in flux?
Sure.
Will there be questions from that individual? Do you anticipate that?
You know, I think it's important to note that this is a hire by the University of Miami. I'm coordinating the search on behalf of the University of Miami, but at the end of the day, it's a hire made by the University of Miami. It's made by our board of trustees, by our president, and there will be a commitment to whoever's hired from the president and from the board that they are our head men's basketball coach, regardless of the athletic director that's chosen. So I think it's important to note this is a hire by the University of Miami. It's not Tony Hernandez making this hire. I'll be extremely involved in it and will lead that process, but it's a hire being made by the University of Miami.
So it's kind of a sticky situation, right? Because a new AD would usually want to bring their own guys in. So how do you kind of wait off the situation? How does that work itself out with the university?
You know, a new AD doesn't necessarily always want to bring in their own coaches. I mean, they want to bring in their own coaches of ones that aren't successful, but they don't necessarily want to bring in their own coaches. If you have a successful programs, a new AD is glad to inherit successful programs. So our goal, again, is to hire a great basketball coach who develops a successful program here. And regardless of who the athletic director is, we'll have a great basketball program.
So, Tony, how do you measure, if the football program, the big word was relevant, will be relevant again, how do you measure success for this basketball program? What do you want that coach to do?
You know, everything we do, we want to be excellent. So we want to be excellent in basketball too. And, you know, we have to have realistic expectations. Am I going to say that we're going to go out next year and win a national championship? No. I think we have a really good team and there's going to be a lot of excitement around that team. Do I want us to make the NCAA tournament postseason play? Absolutely. So you have to be excellent to try to achieve excellence in everything you do as a basketball program or any of our sports. So to define that, you don't define it as a goal in infinite wisdom. You have to define it as a goal year by year. And I know Coach Haith wanted to win. He hated losing. All our coaches are competitive and they want to win. And we have to hire a coach that's going to create excellence in that program and takes it to a winning level where we can develop goals on a year-to-year basis, like you're referring to.
Did you when you spoke to Frank, did you get the sense that he didn't feel like he accomplished those goals while he was here? Did he mention that at all to you, that he, you know, it's after 7 years, didn't get over that hump?
You know, the only reflection we had on our past, I guess I would call it now, is the fact that he's leaving the program in a good place. Again, there's excitement about the program. It's about the student athletes, and we're excited about the group of student athletes we do have here right now.
Tony, going back, you may have already answered, but how surprised, did it catch you by surprise? I mean, here you are interim and everything's falling in your lap like this.
You know, yes, I did answer that earlier, but I was surprised. I don't think anybody was expecting to be here today at this time at 4:30 to have a press conference that Frank Haith was leaving. When I got the call yesterday, I was taken a little off guard. It developed very quickly with Missouri, and they offered him the job, and he accepted at some point today, I'm assuming. But I was surprised, a little shocked, to be honest.
You know, I guess this is one of those situations you find yourself in because over the last month you've really kind of been supporting Frank whenever you've met with the media, and you know, it seemed like you guys were really happy with the job that he was doing, and you know, supported him that he was going to be back next year. So is that frustrating to kind of, you know, you just really supported him and now he's kind of, you know, leaving for another opportunity?
It's part of the business. You know, it's not how you want it to work out. Frank dealt the program with a lot of integrity, and I placed a lot of value in that. And our goal is to make sure that we go out and get a head coach that has equal or better integrity and develops excellence in that program.
Just to get back on how that working relationship goes with the search firm, you mentioned you had all of a sudden a list of 20 names. I don't know what it's exactly, but yeah, 20 names. But I mean, you give them to them, do they kind of click off there and work from there? Then do they come back and add names?
It goes both ways. It goes both ways. We'll provide some names that we might be interested in, and then they'll provide names of people that they think might be interested in, and then you start vetting through that list. But it goes both ways.
Tony, not having been the point man before on a search of this magnitude, will you ever reach out to, whether it's Kirby or, I don't know, there'll be people that you talk to get some advice?
One thing I promise, I'll reach out to anybody I think that could help us. If that's Kirby, I'll reach out to Kirby. But anybody that I think could be helpful through this process and help us get a great coach, I'll reach out to them. I don't. For those of you that know me, I don't have a huge ego. I'm willing to ask for help, and if there's people I could help, I'm willing to accept that.
How tough will it be trying to convince someone to come here, knowing that bottom line is there isn't a lot of fan support for this team?
That's a challenge. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We want to pack that house every day. We want to pack the Bank United Center every game we have. It's a work in progress, and through marketing, through winning, through a lot of ticket prices, ticket sales, a lot of aspects that play a role in it. It's a commitment from all of us to continue making progress there, and having students come, I think, is one of our first obstacles. We have to get students there, and when they turn out, it changes the atmosphere of that arena completely. I mean, it's wonderful when the students are there. So we have to develop a lot of different plans to make sure we're doing the best we can there to get people in there.
But that will be a pretty big challenge. I mean, hiring a coach, as far as convincing them that you can get people in that building.
It's a challenge. It's also an opportunity, though. And I really think it's an opportunity for a coach to come in and leave their mark on the program and make it even that much better. I think the possibility is definitely there, though, Susan.
Chuck Hernandez is part of Parker? Is that
No, I'm sorry, no. Not to confuse. Chuck Hernandez does mostly his football searches. We've used him for the previous 2 football searches. Just trying to give you a point of reference. Parker Executive Search Firm is a president, a gentleman by the name of Dan Parker. They probably, you can probably go online and look, but they've probably done 25 basketball searches at least. And most recently, this is the president of the NCAA and multiple other big collegiate searches.
They weren't involved 7 years ago when Frank was hired.
We've never used Parker. It was the first time. And they're, by most regards, one of the most prestigious collegiate executive search firms out there.
Is that how you learned about them? I mean, you just knew about them in general? When anybody said, hey, you should use them?
They're well known in the industry. Obviously, I did talk to people who've used them too, but they're well known in the industry.
I have a question off this topic, which is with the all the kind of the focus on I guess ethics in college football recruiting that were made light by the HBO special. Just what does the University of Miami do on that note, just to make sure that things aren't in that direction?
We have to govern ourselves. We have to make sure that we're doing things the right way, and I can't worry about what any other school's doing. But I got to have a level of confidence that we as a football program and all our sports programs are winning and doing it the right way. So that's a commitment, and the commitment starts with the president. You can rest assured that she lets our staff and our coaches know that cheating is not acceptable here at the University of Miami. We're going to do it the right way, and we're going to do it with integrity.
Will candidates who had a smudge in their past regarding ethics still be considered in the search?
At this point, we're considering everybody. I mean, we're going to take it case-by-case basis, but I assure you that integrity and ethics will be a high priority in the search.
Any more questions for Tony?
Is the banquet still going to be held on Thursday?
No, the banquet will be canceled.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.